to you. First off, if you can go ahead and mute your mics when you're not speaking, this will allow for less feedback and make it a lot easier for us to conduct our meeting. Feel free to turn off the video feature if you choose. If you want to keep it on, feel free. We would ask you to go ahead and use the chat box. If you want to open up the chat box on the right side, that is where we are going to kind of help facilitate our questions. And if you take a look at the little circle, the little dialogue bubble is how you open up your chat box. We are recording this session for any parents who are not able to attend today. So it is going to be recorded. And any questions that are asked that we do not have an opportunity to answer during tonight's session, we are going to post this video along with questions and answers that come from today's session on SangerLearns.com. When you go to SangerLearns.com, there is a parent portal that will basically provide you resources for Sanger Unified. And so if you go ahead and click on that home page, there is a parents button for you to press, and that is where all your resources, including a copy of this video, along with any questions or answers that come up that, that we do answer or don't answer, we'll be able to go ahead and place them right here for your future reference. We are going to be doing our English version of our Parent Institute from 5 to 6 today. At 6 o'clock, we're going to do a Spanish version, and both of those are going to be posted on this website. So SangerLearns.com is everything that you need to help navigate this distance learning experience. We have a couple of people here to help us with the facilitation of today's Parent Institute. Again, my name is Thomas Soto, Director of Educational Services. We do have 3 district instructional specialists. These are teachers on special assignment, so they have experience as teachers, but they are basically helping coach our teachers and navigate them through this distance learning experience. So the first one is Katie Galt. Katie Galt is helping running the PowerPoint. And you will be hearing from all of them throughout the course of this presentation. Rachel Groft, also another district instructional specialist. Rhonda Sicaro, another district instructional specialist. So we have 3 of them here to help you. In addition to that, we do have a teacher coach from Centerville, a literacy specialist teacher named Liliana Gomez, and she is going to be here to help out as well. She's going to help us with our Spanish hour, but she is also here as a coach to kind of help answer any questions. And from the technology department, we have Mr. Jerry Trevino. Mr. Jerry Trevino is here to answer any questions that kind of go out of the scope that the curriculum side of the house may not know the answer to. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to pass this off to our curriculum coordinator, Nicole Rosales. Nicole is in charge of professional development and everything related to curriculum. So a lot of teachers and principals are relying on Nicole to kind of help guide them in professional development. So what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and begin the presentation when I pass it off to Nicole. But again, if you have a question, put it in the chat and we're going to insert them as we go through the presentation. And then again, if we don't have an opportunity to answer your question, go ahead and go to SangerLearns.com where this will be posted along with questions and answers that arise. So I'm going to go ahead and now pass it off to our curriculum coordinator, and that is Nicole Rosales.
Thank you, Thomas. So I'm going to quickly go over the agenda. The things that we'll be talking about this evening is distance learning and some examples of online learning, or a little bit of information about online learning. We are going to then discuss tech support. We will go over some video conferencing tips and some parent-teacher communication tips. So those are the things that we're going to cover this evening. This is just a short little video just to kind of bring some humor into this very stressful time for not only teachers, but we know parents too are going through it at home. So this is just a little lighthearted video show the situation we're all in.
I'm ready for school.
Remember, we're not going anywhere. We're staying home for distance learning.
Again. Time for reading. Time for math. Time for shop class. I don't know where my green pencil is. This isn't really working for me. 101, 102, 103.
Are you playing games?
No. Good morning, friends. Do you like my new outfit? I'm supposed to be doing math. Time for yoga. Time for cooking. Time for recess.
Great job with your schoolwork today. You worked really hard.
Before I get a puppy.
No, but we can do all this again tomorrow.
Aw, man.
So we know that this time is definitely stressful for everyone, like I said, not only for teachers, but for families too. And we just wanted to kind of discuss a little bit the difference between what we went through in the spring with what we call quarantine teaching or kind of crisis teaching. We were just thrown into it. We had never done anything like that before. And so teachers were working on just really, trying to keep kids going and working on things that they were familiar with. And now that we're back and in this situation again, we are looking at it a little bit differently. And so you probably or might have heard your teachers talk about synchronous and asynchronous time. And really, just to make it hopefully as easy as we can, synchronous is basically when your student is logged on and they have access to the teacher. That is synchronous time. And asynchronous time is any time that your student is doing something that they are not logged in and they do not have access to their teacher. So that's a kind of simple way to put the difference between those two. But we know that it is a little bit different from the spring, and we're continuing to work with teachers and to try to support them. And we'll continue to have these types of institutes offered for parents so that we can continue to hopefully support you. I'm going to turn it over to Katie Galt.
Hello. So we just wanted to reiterate where all of this can be found. So if you go to our website, which is SangerLearns.com, if you scroll down and then find the Parents tab, I also want to draw your attention to the click here for technology troubleshooting. That you can click directly on, but it is also linked on the Parents tab right here up at the top where you can click over, and I'll show you the troubleshooting page in just a moment. But again, this is where this video will be housed, as well as the link to next week's Parent Institute, which focuses more on specific platforms like Canvas and Seesaw, iReady, etc. If you wanted to follow along with the slides, they're also here. You can jump ahead to a different slide or fast forward, as well as have the English and the Spanish there. So Sanger Learns will be where you will be finding different videos such as this, but we also have just been putting lots of things in on Sanger Learns for tech support, login information, remind information in English and in Spanish, some logins and passwords for students, as well as some different videos for how to log in, how to use the app portal, how to do a split screen, and more. So we hope that you find these videos helpful. If there is at any point a common troubleshooting thing that you need some support with, definitely communicate with your teacher, or you can put it in the chat if you're in there now. And again, just as a reminder, you can post any questions at the chat at any time, or feel free to kind of interrupt us. But I'm going to move now to some of the common things that we've heard about when it comes to tech support. So the first is a lot of our students' assignments are being done in a way that they're doing something on either an app or on the browser or something, and they have to take a screenshot on their iPad. So the way to take a screenshot is that you press the home button, which is the circular button at the bottom of the iPad, right where you plug in to charge. You press the home button, and then the button at the top that is the on-off switch, press them simultaneously. So once you press them at the same time, then that will take a screenshot and the photo will be on your camera roll. From the camera roll, that's where you can either upload it to Google Drive or attach it to an assignment within Canvas or Google or anything. But that's how you take a screenshot. And then if your iPad is slowing down and things are not working the way that you think that they should, the two things that you can do that are the fastest and for the most part solve some of the problems is you can close the apps. So I'm just going to very quickly show this video. It's about 30 seconds.
So this is how you would close.
And no, I'm not, because it's super tiny. Basically, you press, let me make that large. There we go.
So this is how you would close an iPad app on your device. You're going to click the home button twice quickly, so 1, 2, and then you can swipe up on these. This is what you would do if your device is just moving a little slower, or if an iPad app is not quite doing what you thought it was supposed to do. So you're just going to double tap and then on these.
So that's, again, how to close the apps. And I would suggest doing that at the end of every day, even at lunch or when you're done with your synchronous time, you can close the apps. It just does kind of uses less memory on the iPad at that time. And then if it is still not working, you can do a hard reset on the device. So it's the same two buttons, the home button and then the on-off button. But this time, instead of just pressing them together once, like you did to take a screenshot, you're going to hold them down until the screen goes black. And then you can press the on-off button until you see the apple in order for it to turn on again. So again, you can close the iPad apps, or you can do a hard reset of the device itself. Those are kind of the three biggest questions that we've already had so far when it comes to the iPad and just device use in general. But we wanted to open up some time for any questions regarding MiFi support or overall tech support, as well as remind that for the apps that we use, there's a variety of apps, and we are not responsible, or in Sanger Unified, we can't really force the update of an app. So we recommend, if an app is not working and you've tried closing it, you've tried resetting the device, you can also uninstall the app by holding down until they start to shake, and you can hold the X and uninstall it. And then going back to the app portal for the majority of students, or the Mosel Manager if you have one of the new iPads, and you would know it if you did that. But one of those two, the app portal or the manager, and install or update the app. Generally, either closing the app, doing a hard reset, or uninstalling and then reinstalling the app will solve the majority of tech things. When you are like, I'm doing all of these things correctly and it is still not working, try those things. But we wanted to give a little time for any support or any questions that we had for technology or overall MiFi support before we go on to video conferencing. Okay, well, then we'll move right along. Okay, so the two platforms that we're using for video conferencing, we have been using Zoom, we've been using Google Meet for the majority of the time, and then we're transitioning to also have Zoom be available. So both Google Meet and Zoom are iPad apps that are found in the app portal or the Mosel Manager, and both of them allow our students to communicate using voice and video. We do recommend and want to talk through some of the different safety things that we're seeing, and making sure that you guys know that we are able to have kind of the background view of those platforms. And the reason why we waited on Zoom and not just had it be a free-for-all, because Zoom has always been around, but we wanted to be able to have more security and then more responsibility over what could and couldn't be done with Zoom. So with both Google and Zoom, we have the ability to see who's on the call. We have the ability to, teachers have the ability to mute all or to stop the video of some people, to kick students out, to use a waiting room in Zoom, use breakout rooms in Zoom. But these are just some of the example kind of norms that we have when we're with students on a Zoom or a Meet. We encourage them to, just like we are today, muting their microphones when they're not speaking, but teachers also have that expectation that if they have a question, they can either raise their actual hand or within Zoom, hit the little hand icon. They can also unmute themselves depending on the teacher's kind of organization of the classroom and ask a question that way. For the video, none of our teachers should be forcing the use of video, but if they are comfortable, and that is a great way to check in with the students and have some of that nonverbal communication. And then we are also utilizing the chat box. Students do not have the ability to chat privately from one student to another. We have, in Zoom, you are able to do that, but we can turn that feature off. And in Google Meet, we don't have that ability at all. So students cannot privately message each other. The teacher in Zoom can set it up where the student can privately message the host, so the teacher themselves, but they can't message student to student if the teacher disables that feature. So just some of the different privacy features that we have. Any other questions about some of the video conferencing or tech or MiFi? Kind of a little question and answer if you had any regarding technology and the Google Meet, the video conferencing. Okay, then
All right. So I'm Rhonda Siqueiros. Welcome, everybody. We're going to talk a little bit about parent-teacher communication and some different ways to help you make sure that you know everything you need to know about how to support your students, what's coming from the teachers, and so on and so forth. So Rachel and I are going to take you through these steps. The first one I want to talk about is maybe the most obvious, and that is just emailing the teacher. So on this slide, you'll see on the top right, I listed our naming convention for emails for Sanger Unified employees. So if you know the name of your teacher, first_last name at SangerUSD, .net, you can email any teacher in Sanger Unified. Okay, you can email any administrator in Sanger Unified. So if you feel that you have some questions about the structure or timing or specific assignments, feel free to email. I just want to remind parents that unlike the spring when teachers had time to respond to emails and were expected to respond to emails quickly, now teachers are in the classroom, even virtual classrooms, instructing. At the middle school and high school level, it is, you know, from early in the morning until 2 or 3 o'clock. So it may not feel that you're getting an immediate response with an email, but oftentimes it is the best way to communicate with a teacher. Okay, and then we're also going to talk about Remind. I'm sure all of you are familiar with the Remind app. It is used at sites across Sanger Unified as well as by the district. And then we're going to talk through some grading, how to monitor students' grades using PowerSchool and Canvas. Okay, all right, so first we're going to talk about Remind. And so just so that you understand how Remind works, parents or guardians are added to Remind through PowerSchool, which is our student information system. So on student registration, parents were asked to give contact information, and the 3 parent contacts that are listed first on any student's registration information, those people are added to Remind. You have the option to opt out of a dialer, so Remind is like equivalent to our dialer. All right, so if you're not getting messages, my suggestion is that you contact your site and talk to the administrative assistant at the site or somebody in the office at your school site, and they can get you set up. You can also email me. A note about students under the age of 13. So students under the age of 13 are not allowed to have private conversations with adults. That is a protection and a safety setting. So students will receive outgoing messages or announcements from teachers, but they cannot participate in conversations. So if you've ever been concerned and thought, well, my child's trying to contact the teacher via Remind, that is probably, if they're under 13, what the hang up is. You can also tell in Remind if your child is under 13, they will be listed by a first name and last initial. Okay, and then parents can typically reply to announcements from teachers, creating a conversation between teacher and parent. So Remind is actually a very effective way to communicate with teachers. If they send out a message and you have a question specifically about that assignment or meet, you can simply reply to the message and it creates a dialogue between you and the teacher. So some teachers have the app, some teachers have Remind connected to their emails, some teachers have Remind connected to everything. So, but it's a very effective way to communicate with your classroom teacher. And if you have middle school or high school students, all 6 or 7 of their teachers. So you're probably getting a lot of messages. There's a question about Class Dojo. Does anybody know about Class Dojo? Okay. So Katie's gonna look up that information about Class Dojo. Okay. So if you are somebody who is getting a ton of messages on Remind, for example, you get an email, you get a text, and you get a notification on your app, you may want to adjust your notifications. So the first thing I want you to understand is that if you're getting messages from Remind, even if you haven't created an account, you have a Remind account. Okay, so my suggestion is one of 2 things. You can go to remind.com and log in, or you can download the app and log in from that point. So you have 2 options, computer or browser or the app. And then use whatever point of contact is most common for your messages. So if you receive texts, you would use your phone number. If you receive emails, you would input your email address. If you receive both, you could use either one. And then you would follow the prompts for, I forgot my password, because since your account may have been generated by the system pushing you in from PowerSchool, you don't have an existing password. So your goal would be to create the password. It's very much like any circumstance when you forget a password. It will either send you an email to confirm, or it might send you a code on your phone. And from that point, you will have access to your account settings. So once you are in your account settings, you have multiple options. So on the top left of that screen, you see kind of the interface for an Apple phone or an iPad. And Apple, the indicator is going to be that little gear shift looking settings button. And in there, you can go to account settings and then notification preferences. Okay, so those are your steps: account settings and then notification preferences. On an Android phone, it's either going to be the 3 lines or the 3 dots, and it will take you to the same options. Okay, so you're looking for account settings and then notification preferences. Once you are in your notification preferences, it will show you all of the ways that you are connected to Remind, and you will be able to turn off notifications. So if you prefer to receive emails as opposed to texts, you can just, there's a bell, and if you click the bell, it will turn blue to activate or gray to deactivate, and there will be a line through it, I believe, if it's deactivated, and you can adjust your settings so that you don't receive a multitude of messages that say the exact same thing. Okay, so that's a little bit about how to navigate Remind. I highly encourage parents to use the app. Personally, I was one of those people who was getting 3 messages for every message that was sent. And so I have enabled notifications on my app, but turned off my phone so I don't get my text messages blown up, and my email. Okay, but you have to do what suits you. But I think it's important that you know that you have the power to control that. It probably is very likely that one day you just started receiving messages and it said, this is Remind and this is your communication with so-and-so. And so anyway, you do have the power to control your notifications. Okay, any questions? Wow. That was scary.
Okay, let's pretend we did not hear that. So let's.
I'm glad it was recorded.
Sorry, I was changing this because I found this was the only information I could find regarding Class Dojo notifications. When I Googled how to turn off Class Dojo notifications, all they wanted me to do was to be able to unblock them. But it looks like from your either Safari browser or in an iOS, you can just at the, where did they go? At that level, you can turn off your notifications. So I'm going to put this in the other option was here. But I'll put this in the chat that just like from the phone, you can turn off the notifications. But that was for Class Dojo. And I apologize for the crazy wackadoo screen for a little bit.
All right, so passing it off to Rachel. She's going to talk about Power School.
Okay, so I didn't want to move too quickly. If some of you maybe are, you have your phone out and you're trying to adjust your Remind settings or your Class Dojo settings or something, I don't want to move too fast ahead. But remember that this is being recorded, so if we cover something and you're like, wait, I need to go back and get that information, you will be able to watch it later. But feel free to interrupt me if you have questions. So something that parents are regularly asking, especially maybe if you aren't the most tech-savvy person, is how do I monitor my students' grades? How do I see what they've turned in, what's late, if there's anything missing, things like that. So from the K5, TK5 level, at that level, the best thing to do is to have a conversation with your child's teacher. Teachers can communicate that differently. Some teachers will send out grade reports. Parents do have access to Illuminate, which is the grading platform for K through 5 students, but not all teachers update that super regularly. Class Dojo is a way that some teachers communicate with that. So I would communicate directly with your child's teacher, and if maybe that's not clear, talk to a site administrator to see if you can get some clarity on how to monitor that. But if you're at the 6th through 12th grade level, Power School is the grading platform, and parents are able to create Power School accounts so that you can log in. You can see what your child's attendance is looking like, whether they made it to class. You can see what their overall class grades are. You can see what their individual assignment grades are, depending on which platform you use. So I'm going to just show you quickly how to do that. So this screen is basically just kind of walking you through the steps left to right. So the first thing you're going to want to do is to obtain a parent login printout from the office manager at your child's school. You don't actually have to have a piece of paper. Those printouts are generated from our Power School platform. So an office manager or a CSP or a principal or even the tech office, if you call the tech hotline, they can generate those parent printouts that will basically have a first-time code for you to be able to use as a password. And then you'll be prompted to create your own password. So you'll want to get that first. If for some reason you run into problems getting that, then feel free to contact any one of us in the that's here in this meeting. So once you have that paper, the second thing that you will do, if Katie, could you go back one time? Okay, the second thing you'll do is you'll go to the PowerSchool website, and right there on the screen is a little screenshot of what that website is going to look like. And there's also a link. You can click on the picture, or there's a link directly below it that will take you to PowerSchool. Now, quick warning, if you type in powerschool.com, it will take you to the wrong place. There's thousands and thousands of districts in the country that use PowerSchool. And so you have to go to the PowerSchool site that is specific to Sanger Unified. So if you click on that link, it will take you to Sanger's, and so you can enter a username and a password or create an account if it's the first time. Once you log in with your information, it's going to ask you for the district code, and I've also included that there on the screen. It's LDGH. No rhyme or reason to why that's the case. That's just the way it is. So again, first thing you're going to want to do is to get a PowerSchool login printout from your office manager or school administrator. Then you'll go to the Sanger specific PowerSchool website. And again, those links are here. I think we have those getting thrown up in the chat as well. You'll enter, there's a little button that says create a new account, and you'll click on that, enter your information, enter the information from that printout that you got from the CSP or office manager, and voila, you'll have an account. If you, at that point, and only at that point, can you download an app and sign in there. You cannot create an account for PowerSchool via the app. You have to create an account via the website, and then if you want to use the app, you can download the app from the app portal. I'm sorry, not from the app portal, from the App Store if you have an Apple, or from the Google Store, or whatever it's called. I'm sorry, I'm not an Android person. I'm an Apple person, so I know it's called an App Store. Anyway, there we go. Thank you, Katie. Google Play Store. So at that point, if you want to use the app, then you can log in there, and it's super easy. Lots of great information. So Katie, if you want to go to the next screen. Once you log into PowerSchool on a web browser, this is what you're going to see. So I've logged in. It's automatically going to link me to my child because of that special code that I got on that handout from the printout from my office manager or CSP. So it will automatically link you to your child. And you'll see here you can, on the left-hand side, you can click on missing assignments. You can click on score reports. So for example, if they've taken a previous test, state test, for example, you can click on there and see those. You can look at grade history. But if you want to see the kind of long list of assignments for your students' classes individually, that arrow right there is pointing to basically an overall letter grade. If you click on that, it will open up a list of all of your students' assignments, and you can go through and see what's missing and what their individual grade reports were. On the next screen, this is what you will find when you log into the app. So if you log into the parent app, again, it's the same account as the one if you log into a browser like Safari or Chrome, but it just looks different. So as you can see, each of this kid's classes are listed. Again, if you want to see the specific assignments for any of those specific classes, you can click on it. It will open a list of all of the classes in chronological order from newest to oldest. And you can see what's missing, what's due, things like that. So I'm going to open up the floor for a couple minutes for PowerSchool questions. And then I'm going to talk briefly about Canvas and how to get a parent account for Canvas.
We had one question regarding if you had a child on PowerSchool already, can you add another one?
You can. I'm going to have to get the specifics of that. I want to say that they're automatically added. I had two kids in Sanger Unified at the same time, and I don't recall having to enter a separate password. I want to say that it automatically populated the top. Katie, go back one button, would you please? Kind of up there on the top where on the top left, there's a tab there would be a second tab with your with every additional child. So you could click on those additional tabs and it would take you to that child. I hope that answers your question. If you need additional help with that, you can go ahead and type that in the chat and we'll get an answer for you.
And if you're not seeing it, it might be something on the back end of PowerSchool where we need to link. In PowerSchool, we can link family members. So you can link siblings together, and that might be how it is. So if it's something where you're not being able to see it, you might want to contact your the office manager or administrator at one of your student sites, and then just make sure that they know that the siblings are related.
And it's also possible that it's like phone number, email address specific. So if you have one email listed for one child, but a different email listed for a different child, phone number, same type of thing, you might consider making that information consistent so that that stuff lines up. Okay, so that's PowerSchool. PowerSchool is fantastic. It's very easy to monitor. Once you get it set up as a parent, I'm speaking as a parent, it's very, very easy to use. Okay, and Thomas actually put a note there too that if you need assistance with getting your PowerSchool set up, your parent PowerSchool account, there's a phone number there for our data team, and they will make sure that you have access. Okay, so again, this is for being able to monitor your child. A lot of our teachers in the district this year are using a platform called Canvas. Think of Canvas as like email and like an online classroom and a online discussion board like a Twitter or I don't know, Facebook kind of a thing, like a bunch of different apps kind of meshed into one. And it makes it really easy for teachers if they're using that platform to do all sorts of things. One of the benefits of Canvas is that as a parent, you can set up an account and you can link your account to your child or children. And you actually don't even have to be a parent. If you had a grandparent in the family, an aunt or uncle, someone who's monitoring your child's education while you're at work during the day, they can set up an account as well, and they can be an observer. That's the official Canvas term for it. They can be an observer of that child's account. So I'm going to walk you through those steps. There is a video at the top left-hand corner of the screen. I'm not going to show it just because I'm going to walk you through all of those steps. But in the event that you just want to have a little bit more clarity, you're welcome to access that video. Again, via Sanger Learns, or Katie, I believe, through the link to this slide deck in the chat as well. So basically what's going to happen is you need a pairing code. And you're going to create a Canvas account and input that pairing code, and your account and your child's account will come together. So where do I find a pairing code? I'm going to actually, Katie, if you could go back really quickly. So you can't input a pairing code until you have an account. So you can sign up for an account in two different places. You can sign up via the app. You can sign up via a web browser like Safari or Chrome. So if you download the app, you're going to download the Canvas Parent app. There's 3 different apps in Canvas. There's one for teachers, there's one for students, there's one for parents. They all look the same. They have this little circle that almost looks like a sunburst. And the parent version is blue. So it's a white icon. You can see it kind of up there in the top left of that video. It's a blue kind of sunburst. So you'll download that app. And when you open it, it's going to ask you to find your child's school. So when you find your child's school, you're actually not going to type in the school of your child. Like if your child goes to Fairmont, you wouldn't type in Quail Lake or Fairmont. You would type in Sanger. And what's going to pop up is Sanger Unified Fresno County. And that should be enough of a flag to let you know that that's the district that you're clicking on. So you'll click on Sanger, and then it's just going to ask for more information about you, your name, last name, an email address, And that's pretty much it. And it's going to ask you for that pairing code. So you can get a pairing code from your child's teacher. You can get it from an office manager. You can get it from a CSP. You can get it from a vice principal. But you can also get it from your child's Canvas account. So Katie, if you would go to the next slide, we will show really quickly how to get that pairing code.
Hello, Sanger Unified parents. I'm going to take a minute to walk you through the process of signing up for a parent account through the Canvas parent app and connecting that with your child's Canvas account so that you can observe their course and check their grades and view their assignments so that basically you can help monitor your child's progress in school. So I'm going to go to this blue flower looking icon down here, which is the Canvas parent app. Click on that and click find school. Now you're not going to type in your child's school name, you'll type in Sanger and select Sanger Unified Fresno County. And then if you've never created a parent account, you'll click on create account. And you'll fill in your information. And I'm just using a generic account right now. Enter your first and last name, your email address, a password of your choosing. And then you'll be prompted to enter a student pairing code. Now, where do I get that pairing code? If you have your child log into their student account, I'm logged in as a student, and you click on the 3 pancakes in the top left-hand corner of the screen, and then click on settings. You'll see that there's this option to pair with observer. If I click on that, it's going to give me this code. So I would copy that code, go back to my parent account, paste the code right here, agree to the terms and conditions, and click start participating. Make sure that your password is long enough apparently, and click start participating. So you'll see that I'm paired with that student. Now, if I wanted to pair with an additional student, I could click again on the 3 pancakes, click on Manage Students, and in the top right-hand corner, there's a plus button. I can add a different pairing code for any additional children.
Okay, so just as a refresher, if you want to sign up as a parent observer for Canvas, you can either go to the Sanger Canvas account. It's kind of like PowerSchool in that if you go to canvas.com, it will not get you where you need to go. There's thousands and thousands of institutions across the world that use Canvas, so it needs to be Sanger specific, and that's on the previous slide. It's sanger.instructure.com, and I will type that into the chat. So that is where you would go to a website to sign up, or you can download that parent app. Once you're there, you're going to click on create a parent account, create an account. You'll fill in the information, add the pairing code that you have either gotten from your child's teacher or from your child's account, and voila, there you go. You have a parent account. So next week, if you have a child who is using Canvas actively and you have questions about like, how do I adjust my notifications so that I can get a notification if my child submits a assignment or a grade was posted or things like that, then we're going to go over that topic next week, same time, same place. And we'll also go over specifics about how ways that you can help your child learn Canvas too, like just simple things, submitting an assignment, how they can message their teacher, how you could message their teacher right there within the Canvas platform. So more specifics about how to use Canvas next week. But for now, if you want to monitor your child, you can sign up as an observer. And I think we're going to enter some Q&A time. So if you have questions about anything we've covered, from iPad use to resetting an iPad to MiFi, Wi-Fi issues to Remind, or emailing teachers, Class Dojo, whatever, anything we've covered, if you have questions, feel free to throw those in the chat. I'll be quiet for a couple of minutes in case you do have questions. And keep in mind that next Tuesday, like I said, same time, same place, 5 p.m., our English Parent Institute session will be happening. An additional Spanish Institute will be happening, and we will be going into more detail about all of the topics that are listed there on the slides. So Canvas, Seesaw, Clever, iReady, and Google Classroom.
So today's session was just simply kind of an overview of just technology in general. And again, next week is going to be more focused on the actual apps that your students may be using to kind of help navigate that. Any questions for the team? You can go ahead and unmute yourself if you'd like to ask a question. Okay. Well, we definitely appreciate your time, and we are going to be sliding over to our do you have a question, Val?
Just a quick one, and it's only because I don't see it here, and I think my son said something about it, but I don't see AR. Are we not doing AR this year?
Yeah, so there are some, we used to have it as a district license. We don't have that because we have iReady. And so iReady is kind of take the place of AR. And so, so we don't have the AR program itself. But what a lot of what iReady does is going to be doing what Renaissance and AR did before in regards to kind of leveling out the kids, letting them know what their grade level, what their reading level is, and being able to match them up to those AR books. But as an AR program itself, no, we don't have it as a district. School sites have an option of purchasing it on their own as a school site. So that's going to be a site-by-site decision. So it isn't a district program anymore. Any other questions? All right. Well, hopefully this was informative for you. We're going to post this tomorrow, the latest in that. So you just can go to SangerLearns.com, click on Parents, and we'll go ahead and post this so you can see it over and over and over again. And then again, hopefully we are going to be able to see you guys next Tuesday for the next installment of our Parent Institute. And we're just going to start continuing to get more feedback as to what you guys want to hear. What do you want to learn more about? This is all about parents. And so please feel free to give us feedback, letting your principals and your teachers know like what it is you want in these Parent Institutes. We're here definitely to serve. So thank you. Have a good night. And we will see you guys hopefully all next week. Have a great night.
Means over.